Hello everyone, and welcome to our next maths lesson where we are looking at subtracting mixed numbers. So just a quick recap. So in a proper fraction, remember where the number on top, the numerator is bigger than the number on bottom, the denominator, and the mixed number is when we have the wholes and then the number of fractions left, and this fraction here is never an improper fraction. It's always a mixed number with a whole number, an integer with a proper fraction. Okay, so your questions to pause the video to and start to practice your division are here. So pause the video and then I'll show you the answers on the next slide. Okay, so the words of the day here is separating the wholes and the fractions. We're subtracting our mixed numbers like we did with adding mixed numbers, so just remember that. Okay, so here's our answers. So 8,674 divided by 6 is 1,445 remainder 4. If I want to make that remainder into a fraction, all you do is put it over the number you're dividing by. So that's 1,445 remainder 4/6, or some of you might spot that you can simplify the 4/6 because they're both in the 2s, so divide the top and the bottom by 2, get 2/3. So if you wanted the answer with remainders in fractions, 1,445 remainder 2/3. So 72,542 divided by 4 is 18,135 remainder 2. If you wanted that remaining fractions, you divide it, put it over by the number you're dividing by, and then can you simplify that? So what is 2/4 the same as? It's the same as a half. So 2/4, divide the top and the bottom by 2, same as a half, so 18,135 and a half. Some of you might have noticed that half is worth 0.5. So well done if you got those correct. Okay, so we have a couple of warm-up questions here. So this is to practice our converting of mixed numbers and improper fractions, one to the other. So pause the video, have a go at converting these. So remember, you see how many fifths are there all together. So you times the whole by the bottom number, add your answer to the top number. Times your whole by the bottom number, add it to the top number. And then how many wholes do you have in here? So how many tens in 102? I hope you convert that to a mixed number. So pause the video and have a go at those. Right, so the first one, 5 3/5. So we times our whole by the bottom number because we've got 5 lots of 5/5. So that's 25/5 in 5 wholes. And then you add the 3/5 that are left. So 25/5 and 3/5 is 28/5. 3 and 8/9. So you do 3 times 9, so 3 lots of 9/9 is 27/9, and you add the 8/9 that you're left with. So 27 add 8 is 35/9. So we're going to convert these in proper fractions, so numerator bigger than the denominator, to mixed numbers. So 102/10 is the same as 10 and 2/10 because there's 10 tens in 102 with 2 remaining. So here, how many 12s is in 124? 12 times 10 is 120. So we get 10 wholes and then 4 12ths left. And then we're just going to look at simplifying. So 2/10 becomes 1/5 because you can divide the top and the bottom by 2 to get into the smallest number. So 10 and 1/5. Here you'll notice that 4 and 12 are in the 4 times table, so you can simplify that again to 10 and 1/3. So well done if you got those. Right, let's look at subtracting our mixed numbers. So here we have 7/5 minus 3/10. So 7/5, put that into tenths. So we've times the number of parts by 2. Where we reduce the bottom, we reduce the top. So we're going to make the denominators the same before we subtract it. So 7/5 multiplied by 2 is 14/10. So we've got 14/10 minus 3/10, which is 11/10, or 1 1/10. Okay, so another way of looking at it, so we have 7/5 minus 3/10. So So 7/5 would be there on the number line. And then if we times the number of parts by 2, put it into tenths, so we have our 10/10, our 20/10, and our 14/10 there. And we're going to take away 3/10, so you can either count that from there or you can work out the difference. The difference is 7/10 plus 4/10, which is 11/10. So there's two different methods. There's the number line method, or converting it into the same denominators and then just subtracting. Okay, so here we have 2 2/3 minus 7/9. We've got 2 2/3 on the number line. And then we're going to times the number of parts by 3, so the denominators are the same. So we get 6 2/9, because 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. And then we want to see where 7/9 is, and then what is the difference between 7/9 and 2 and 6/9. So you add 2/9 to get to 1, you add 1 to get to 2, and you add 6/9 to get to 2 and 6/9. So you add up those jumps to work out the total difference, which is 2/9 plus 6/9 plus 1 whole, which is 1 8/9. So if you pause the video now and have a go at questions 1 to 3, then I'll carry on with the video. Right, so a race is 3 2 kilometers, 3 2/3 of a kilometer in length. Annie has run 1 kilometer so far. How much further does she have to run? So how do you think you calculate that answer? Okay, so here we have it represented in a number sentence. So 3 2/3 minus 1/6. At the moment you can see those denominators are not the same, so that's our first step, making those denominators the same. So we're going to times the number of parts by 2. So we times the bottom and the top by 2. We get 3 4/6. So you can see that represented here. And then all we need to do is take away 1/6. So you can see the answer is 1 2 3 wholes, 3 6 remaining. And then you can also see that you can simplify 3 and 3/6, because 3 is half of 6, so 3/6 is the same as 1/2, and you can see that there as well. So that shaded takes up half of the whole. Okay, we have another one here. So 5 and something 30ths take away something 6 equals 5 and 7 30ths. So let's make that into 30ths. So we know we've times that by 5. So if we get this in 30ths, we're going to have to then divide by 5 to get it back into sixths. So we need to work out those. So there's a few options here. So if we have 5 and 14 30ths, take away 7 30ths, we are going to have 5 and 7 30ths. However, can we divide 7 by 5? We cannot, so we need to think again. So if we want to take away 1/6, so if we start by what we're taking away, 1/6 is the same as 5 30ths. So if I'm going to take 5 30ths from something and the answer is going to be 7 30ths, what might that be? So if I work backwards and say 7 plus 5 will give us this one. So 12. So 5 and 12 30ths minus 1/6, which is worth 5 30ths, will equal 5 and 7 30ths. So if you have a think about this one, are there any other ways that you might be able to do that? Remembering that whatever you convert this into in 30ths, it's going to have to be divisible by 5. So it's got to be in the 5 times table, this number. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, so if we decide that that is 2/6, I'm just going to get rid of that because I know it's going to write over it. 2/6, what is that in 30ths? See if you can tell yourself. Didn't write over it. Okay, so 2/6 in 30ths. So remember, we have to times by 5 to get from 6 to 30ths. So whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 2 times 5 is 10. So if you're taking 10 away from something to get 7, it has to be 17. Take away 10 to get 7. Right, next question. So it's a word problem now. So Alex cycles for 8 kilometres. Mo cycles for 7 5/8 of a kilometre. How much further does Alex cycle than Mo? Okay, so here we're using the number line method again. So we're going to put our 8 kilometres on. We're going to put our 7 5/8 on. So we're working out that difference there. So we can see the difference between 7 5/8 and 8 is 3/8 of a kilometre. Jack eats 1 2/5 of a pie. Dora eats 9/10 of a pie less than Jack. How much pie does Dora eat? So once again, we can represent that on a number line. So 1 2/5 is the same because we've got fifths and tenths, and we know our denominators have to be the same to work with them. So if we convert that to tenths, 5, you have to times that by 2 to get to 10. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So times that by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 2 is 10. So 1 4/10. What's the difference between 9/10 and 1 4/10? So if we plot those on there, so 1 4/10 is there. So we're going up in tenths. 1 2 3 4, 1 4/10. And then if we plot 9/10, 9/10 less. Okay, this is why I read the question carefully. So 9/10 less. So if we count back 9/10 from there, we get 5/10 because 4/10 taken away from 1 4/10 is 1 whole, and then we still have to take 5/10 away. So the answer is 5/10. This is the same as a half because 5 is half of 10. Okay, so your activity has been assigned to you on Teams, and I've made sure that I've put all the question papers with answers on Tapestry. So if you can print it more easily from there, then please feel free to do that. Just remember to make those denominators the same, and that you can use those number lines to work backwards if you find that easier. So you might find that easier to do your working out, and I imagine some of the questions have got those in them too. So thank you once again for concentrating and working hard on your maths, and I'll speak to you soon.